Hello and welcome to Talking About Success. I'm Jack Canfield, America's #1 success coach, chairman of the Canfield Training Group, and the author of numerous New York Times bestsellers, including Chicken Soup for the Soul series and most recently, The Success Principles, How to Get From Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. And today's guest is Nick Haritatos. He's a successful entrepreneur, a soccer player, a pilot, a former military commander, and devoted family man whose career has spanned 4 countries on 3 continents. And from his humble beginnings in war-torn Greece to Southern Africa, Nick began a remarkable journey to success, buying his first business at 16 and creating a portfolio of successful companies in Rhodesia, South Africa, and the United States. And buffeted by winds of sweeping changes, Nick pledged to make his own destiny, regardless of any obstacles. And as a result, he's lived a life of adventure set amidst mud huts and dirt roads and tribal lands in Africa, harrowing days of the Rhodesian Bush War, numerous boardrooms, international trips to over 40 countries, and one-of-a-kind ocean view homes. He's an avid walker and conquered the California Coastal Trail, which stretches from the Mexico-U.S. border all the way through California to the Oregon border, 1,200 miles long. And he's here today to share some of his wisdom with us and talk about his new book, No Limits. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Nice to be here, Jack.
Really glad to have you here. Now, giving people a little bit of background, but tell us a little more about where you've come from. And it's been quite an adventure. And I just want to learn more. I mean, I've read your book, which is fascinating. It really is an adventure. I think it could be a movie. But just give us a little distillate of where you've come from and what's going on with all that.
Yes, Jack. My life has been an adventure and still is. It all started when my parents took the whole family from Greece and immigrated to Southern Africa when I was 12 years old. I fell in love with owning business or businesses, for this matter, at the early age of my life. I love businesses and I have never worked for anybody in my life. I did say in my introduction, my motto is I make events. Events don't make me.
That's great. So now you've gone and written a book. It's a little bit of a departure from what you've been doing in the past. What motivated you to write a book?
I had in my mind for over 20 years to write a book about my life. I have had a lot of adventures in my life, and I thought writing a book will capture those adventures. And I lived in 4 countries, 3 continents. I owned 23 companies. I had a beautiful family. I did a lot of travel. I had results, achievements. So I like to put all those things in the book to show the world, because I like to motivate and encourage people to actually do more than what they think they can do. I want them to be the architect of their own destiny and live their lives free, because owning your own business, I believe, gives you a lot of freedom. But most importantly, Jack, when my late wife Anne passed away, she requested that I write my book that I've been saying. So I wrote this book for her memory, and it is actually dedicated to her, and it's for her memory.
Oh, that's beautiful. I can see you're very touched by that. Yeah. So you're a businessman, 23 companies. Started your first company when you were young. Tell us about that first business.
After arriving to Rhodesia, what was called then, from Greece, a couple of years later, I started helping at my father's bakery, part-time. I was never asked, but I saw so much activity, so I thought I better join in and try to help. The operation was quite big. It had 2 shifts, a lot of people, and there was a lot of activity. We had a lot of traffic in and out, vans, trucks, loading, offloading, people coming in, and that excited me. It excited me so much that I fall in love with business right there and then. And because that excitement, I felt I was part of it. So I decided to own my own business as soon as possible. At that time, I was going to school, and of course, I was helping the bakery. So I would start thinking, how can I get a business? What can I do to own my own business? And I started looking, and I discovered there was a business for sale called Mambo Cafe. This particular business was a restaurant and also selling groceries. So I thought, why I cannot buy this business? And how can I buy it? I had some money saved, and I thought, how can I use this money now to put a deposit and get this business? And I can pay then the balance. So I saw my dad, and I said to him, Dad, I saw this business that I want to buy. He looked at me like this, and he says, son, you want to buy a business? I said, yes, Dad. He says, are you really sure you want to buy a business? I say, yes. He says, Dad, he says to me, then buy it. Nothing is impossible. Go for it. So I thought, oh man, that was good. I was expecting something different, So, but at that time I didn't realize I was 16 years old and I couldn't get a license or a permit or even open a bank account to operate a business. So I thought, oh my goodness, now what am I going to do? So I thought, well, let me go to my mother. So I went to her and I said, Mom, I find this business that I want to buy. She looked at me and says, what? How are you going to work in the bakery that you do part-time, go to high school, that you're going to high school, and you're going to take care of this business? I said, Mom, this particular business has 6 people. It's got a manager, and the owner is not working there. He's got other business. He just comes and collects the money. So it fits perfect for what I want to do. It's a sort of self-running, and I know I can make it better. I can make this business better. She looked at me, she says, She says, and what do you want me to do? I said, Mom, I want you not to do nothing except sign the contract, I will apply for the license, but I'll put everything in your name, bank accounts and everything. You just sign the checks. I will make the checks, I will do everything. You're not involved. She looks at me and she says, you mean to tell me I'm not going to involve in anything? I said, no, Mom. I will bring you the checks wherever you are at home. I will sign the checks. I will write the checks. You just sign them. And I say, I can even sign, you can even sign the whole checkbook. And then I don't have to bother you. It's going to be so easy. I say, Mom, please. She looked at me and says, okay. She says, but it is your baby. It is not my baby. I said, Mom, it is my baby. So I bought the business, and it was so successful that 3 years later, from the profit the business made, I bought another business almost 3 times bigger, 2 to 3 times bigger than this one. So it was successful, first time. So that really fired me up.
Yeah. Now that was a risk, and I know in reading your book, you took a lot of risks along your life. Just even when you were working with your father's bakery, delivering bread and going into places that many people would not go, especially as a young white person in an African country. And as you look back over your life, what would be, in your mind, the biggest risk you ever took?
My biggest risk was when I was drafted in the military to become a commander. And I'm glad to be alive today. In terms of business, 9 years after my first 2 businesses that I bought, I decided that I wanted to do something even bigger than what I had. At that time, I owned the 2 businesses that I said earlier on, and also I owned 50% of the bakery business. And I just got married that time, and I thought, my wife was a very intelligent person, very supportive. So I thought, I want to do something bigger, something crazy, more crazy than this. So I decided to sell all those 3 businesses, or 2.5 businesses, and move to a bigger city, 200 miles away from my existing city that I lived for 11 years, and start something new. I had no friends there, I had no relatives, nothing. So I decided to open a drive-in cinema. So completely new type of business. So, but the drive-in cinema was actually three businesses. We created a very big restaurant and a bar, the first of its kind in the country. Others follow me. So when the restaurant was made actually to produce up to 200 half chickens a night. And that was in a matter of like 30 minutes when we have the interval.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big operation, very big operation, a lot of equipment inside, because it was the type of business. Now, that was risky. Why I'm saying risky is because I put everything that I had, me and my late wife, into the business. And it was like putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. But I was determined to be so creative with this business that it was not going to happen. And here is what we did. I created children's playground, so people would come early, eat, drink, and we had the chairs outside. It was quite a big operation. I built an apartment block for the senior staff, 10 apartments. We put 850 trees around the property. It was 15.5 acres altogether. So when we were doing the plans, and I was thinking about all these things, how can we make this business successful? How we can create this business successful? We had the children's playground. We thought we had extra space. And Jack, can you believe what I did? Well, I built up a full-size soccer field.
Really?
Yes, and we play games there every week. And let me say why. Because first of all, you know, I'm crazy about soccer. And secondly, we had 800 cars parking. So it was wasted. This way, people can come in, park right there, play the game, watch the game, and have a good time. So we had games every week. It was actually incredible. So the business was so successful that a year later, I bought a commercial laundry and dry cleaning business. And year after that, I invested quite a lot of money in a gold mine operation.
So you just kept growing and growing and growing. I love it. Now, one of the things I teach in my work is a little formula called E plus R equals O. Stands for event plus response equals outcome. And the idea that events just occur and you can't complain about it. You can't blame them for anything. You just have to have the kind of response that allows you to create the outcomes you want. And I'm just, I know you haven't read my book before that and everything, but you've always lived that way yourself. Like you just respond to what's happening, and you seem to have the kind of eye that says, okay, this is something I could do that's going to make a huge difference, and you take the risk. I love it. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, actually, there's two things here. When I look at life in general, I feel I have a responsibility. I'm a very responsible person. So I do my homework. I don't go crazy. I do my homework. I check what needs to be done. It's not just in business, but also in life, in my family. I protected my family. What I bought, it was, I have to think about it. I share with my wife. I speak with her because we work as a team. So I was very responsible person. And anything I did in business, the buck stopped with me. It was my responsibility to make sure that everything, it was run well. I trained my people to do the way I wanted things. And that way, I feel everybody should do, to take the responsibility of their own lives. Now, in business, we have a lot of challenges. You're dealing with staff, you're dealing with customers, you're dealing with machinery, equipment, suppliers, people paying their accounts. So you have to really check and recheck and work out things every day. So when things go wrong, you don't blame anybody else. You are right there. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it storms, sometimes it's sunshine. you have to be ready for all those eventualities.
Now, you talked about preparation, being responsible, making sure you did your research and so forth. But also, I know from reading your book and from most businessmen in general, you've also got to trust your intuition at times. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yes. When I look at everything in life, I think carefully again. I do the analysis. When I do analysis, I see what I can do for life, what I can do for business, and what the business can do for me in terms of profits, sales, happiness with the people inside. And that actually makes me happy. When I do that stuff, makes me happy. Now, when I look at it and I do my analysis, if it's something that excites me, it makes me happy, it goes into my gut. And I get the gut feeling to move forward or not move forward. Mm-hmm. If something doesn't work well and it just doesn't seem right, I stay away, I pull back. But if my gut feeling tells me this is good, nothing stops me, I go for it. Otherwise, why waste my time to do the analysis and everything? It's there, you do or you don't do it. That's my fabric.
Yeah, very good. Trust your gut. Got to feel alive, got to feel expansive.
Yes, it tells you everything.
Yeah.
And then it gives you that motivation, that energy to go.
And I think the thing too about that is it's an informed gut. You've done the research, so your gut has a lot of things to draw upon in addition to that. Now, in your book, you mentioned about visualizing. You've used visualization in terms of your life to succeed. I teach that in my work as well. Can you talk about that a little bit, about the power of visualization?
Yes, actually, Jack, nobody taught me about the power of visualization. It was from my experience over and over, because with so many, I bought or started 23 companies, but I probably investigate maybe 200. Mm. So you get that feel as you go over the period of time. Now, my late wife was also the same. We could visualize things together about our lives and everything. It was incredible. That's why to me, to move from one country to another, to do from one thing to another, it's not impossible. There's nothing that you cannot do. Nothing is impossible. But I'll give you an idea about the visualization. I saw a company in South Africa that it was in a terrible shape. They were manufacturing battery chargers for cars, boats, trucks, in a smaller scale. This company was in the most horrible part of town, third floor, no elevator to go upstairs, dark, terrible conditions. But I could visualize how I can turn this company around. I thought about it, I did my homework, and I said, it doesn't matter what anybody says, I want to buy this company because I know what I can do. It doesn't matter how it looks now, how it's going to look under me. So I bought this company, and I could see I can do this company in 5 to 10 years. I could see I could visualize how this business will look in 5 to 10 years. I turned this company to the biggest manufacturing company in South Africa, producing battery chargers and welding machines. In fact, it was the biggest on the African continent.
Wow.
I'm very proud of that. I also started exporting those products to more than 30 countries around the globe. I'm very proud of it.
You should be. That's cool. Good for you. Now, in your book, you talk about pillars. Pillars of success. These are the principles, the things you've built your business and your life around. And I'd love it if you could share a couple that you feel are most impactful.
Yes. I brought my book here today, and I'd like to read you a couple of them.
Great. And let's just let everyone know the book's called No Limits, which is your philosophy of life. There are no limits.
No limits. Here's my book.
There you go. Proud Papa.
Pillar number 1, don't fear failure. If things don't work as you envision, learn from that experience, make changes, improve things, and move on to your next success. Never accept failure, and never understand the failure. Go only for for the success. Pillar number 14, invest your time and energy on projects for which you feel passion. If you don't have a passion for anything, why you waste your time? If you have the passion for that particular item you want to do, it doesn't matter if it's buying a home, you want to do this or that and you love it and you feel you have a passion, you want to buy something, you want to do something, go for it. Nothing must stop you.
What I love is you're taking all these many, many years of experience and the wisdom you've gained, and you've boiled it down to these pillars that if people live their life by, they're going to be successful for sure. I love it. Now, you've done so much all over the world. You've taught so much as well. You developed your staff. I love how you develop people you work with. You've had many lessons, as you said. You learn from your failures and so forth. If you could pick one, what do you feel is the most important lesson you ever learned?
There are no limits. We are the architects of our own destiny. We make our own lives. Mm-hmm. We create our own lives. It is how we do things. That's what I learned.
That's an important one. That is the basis of everything, really. Now, a couple last questions. You got involved in your family's bakery business because you just showed up. You started noticing things. I love the story you tell about how all the trucks were coming and going, and you thought, this could be more organized. And all of a sudden, your father's going, he's got some good ideas here. And you worked in that business. Eventually, you co-owned it and so forth. A lot of people say you should never mix family and business. What's your opinion about that?
You see me, I'm smiling a little bit. It is actually, I can say to you yes and no, but let me go into detail.
Sure.
When you have a family member that wants to come to the business, or family members, there has to be love, understanding, respect. It is very important that those members work with harmony with each other, like a well-oiled machine. Because everything we do in life, it's like a teamwork. We have to work properly with those things in mind. Now, like in my situation, I have had 3 and 4 and 5 companies that I run. I created a model that I run those companies at the same time. That's why I had in my life 23 companies, because I ran 3 and 4 and 5 companies at the same time. I trained those people to run these companies for me. And I taught them how to do things. They had to do what I wanted. And I worked with them to make things together. So I became successful because I had the right team. So if you have family members that they don't understand each other, they cannot connect together, it's not going to work. They must stay away. If they have that combination together, as I said earlier on, then there is nothing wrong with that. So there is pros and the cons about it.
Mm-hmm. Good. So as we're winding up, I want to ask you, if you had one main message today that you wanted to share with people watching, what would that be?
You make your own destiny. Nothing can stop you. You must not expect anyone to do anything for you. You have to do things yourself. There are no limits.
I always say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Yes.
So I agree with you with that. Now, if someone wants to get your book, which I love and just came into being, I'm really glad to be helping share it with the world. Where do they go? How do they get a copy?
They can go to my website, nolimitsbynick.com. nolimitsbynick.com. Spelling of Nick is N-I-C-K, because there's quite a few different ways of spelling it.
Right.
N-I-C-K.
And we'll put that up on the screen so people will see it.
Thank you.
So, one last question. Is there anything we haven't covered, anything you'd like to share?
Yes, I have actually another pillar that I like to share.
Sure.
Which is pillar number 4 in the book. Trust yourself and be confident in your decisions. So that is very important, because when you have a trust in yourself, you can do the impossible things. If you're wishy-washy, it is difficult. It is very difficult. Now, what I did also at the back of my page, as I say, I got the 15 pillars, and they are actually intertwined with the different chapters.
Yeah, they're all throughout the book.
Yes, and it all flows together, explain what is going on, how I did things, everything that I did in business. It doesn't just say, I had this business. How I created those business, how they grew up, how I made them. It's all there.
Well, I love your book. It's a distillation of an entire life's journey to discover all that wisdom. And the way you've shared it, it's a page turner. As I was reading, I just didn't want to stop. And so congratulations on a great book, and thank you for being here today. Thanks for all the lives you've changed by building the businesses you have, and also the lives that will be changed by the book that you've now written. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you for being here. It was a great honor.
My pleasure. And thanks to all of you who've tuned in to us today. And be sure to tune in again next week when I'll be interviewing another transformational leader who can help you live a happier, more successful, more meaningful, and more fulfilling life. Thank you for watching this episode of Talking About Success. Remember, your success is a journey. So for more information and free resources to help you, be sure to visit jackcanfield.com/learn more.